Okay, so now it's time to talk about the, I'm going to call them floats. Actually, there's probably a better word for it, but the mechanisms here that ride on top of our off-center wheels. So they have a couple of purposes. There is a little play in these shafts, okay? So what we want to make sure is that there's no way for this shaft to actually slide behind the wheel, because then it'll get jammed up, all right? The other thing is as I rotate and switch directions, you can see that they actually slightly shift left and right. So we want these guides on here to make sure that they actually stay on top of the wheels. Last but not least, we do want to make sure there's enough mass, which is part of the reason why I've made these so big, because we want gravity to be able to pull this thing down. I don't have an active spring mechanism. And like I said, in this case, I decided I needed to add some extra weight. All right, so I have some nuts on here just to add some dead weight on there. So the only real considerations is that these wheels, if you're using the same wood I am, they're about 5 millimeters thick. So we do want to make the groove to be at least a little bit more than 5 millimeters so that the wheel can free rotate, and yet we don't get too much side-to-side slippage. Okay, so to do that, let me switch cameras and set up, and I'll be right back. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's head on back to LibreCad where we were working before. All right, so we need some sort of a float that rides on top of these wheels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, I decided that in my case, these cases are 100 millimeters wide, so I can use some real estate to build it. So I'm going to actually make mine about 40 millimeters long. So I'm going to choose a rectangle. I've got my snap set to grid. I'm going to come on over here and I'm going to click on one of the major intersections. I don't know if you can see it real well, but I'm just going to click right there. And then we want to go up 40, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40. Now, this is 10 millimeters wide. We don't need that. In fact, I'd probably want to reduce that down. I'm going to say something more like, let's go with about 8 millimeters wide, something like that. Okay, just wide enough that that wheel can rotate inside. That gives us 3 millimeters, 1.5 on either side. I think that's fine. So let's go, that's be 8 right there. Okay, so now I've got that. Now we want to make, that's going to be the flat. That's going to be the part that's going to be riding on the shaft. And of course we're going to need one of these holes. So I'm actually just going to, rather than, I don't remember, I think it was, I do remember, I think it was 2.45, but I'll just copy one of these. So I'm going to move copy, and I'm going to choose the center of it, and I'm going to put it right in the center of this thing, which means right there. And I'm going to keep the original. All right, so now I've got the hole where the shaft is going to fit inside. Now I just have to make the two pieces that hang down. And I think what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go ahead and make it, I'm going to snap to intersection. And I'm going to show you a new tool here. I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a horizontal line. And I can choose the length of it right here. So I want this to be 10 millimeters long. Okay? And I'm going to click right here. Boom, I got a 10 millimeter line. Boom, I got a 10 millimeter line. Escape, and you can see I've got those right there. Now let's go ahead and connect those. So I'm going to go to endpoint snap, which is right here, and I'm going to simply take a 2-point line and I'm going to snap it from there to there. Okay? Now I just repeat that on the other side. So we'll go once again. We're going to go to a horizontal line. In this case, I want to go the other direction. So I can choose either putting in a negative number, or I can put it at the end of the line. So if I click now here, you can see that it goes the opposite direction. Okay, and I've achieved the same goal. And now I'll go with a 2-point line, and I'm going to go from endpoint to endpoint. Now the other thing I wanted to do is just make it look a little nicer. So I think I'm going to go with a fillet. And that's going to be here. I do need to make sure my radius is reasonable. So that's 10 millimeters. I across. So I could actually go as big as 10. It would arc it out like this. I think I'll make it, let's go with 8 millimeters. Okay. So I'm going to click this and then that. And now you can see that I'm trimming off these edges real nice to give it a finished look. Okay, so when this cuts, I'll glue these two sides onto this, and we'll have those nice fitting grooves. So we need 3 of these, one for every wheel. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go to Move Copy. I'm going to turn grids back on, turn off these other snaps, choose that right there, move it over to, say, here. Like that, and I'm going to make multiple copies. I need 2 more. Okay, and there you have it. I now have completed, I think, all the basic pieces of the box assembly that you need to be able to create this this butterfly or some sort of mechanism with 3 levers. Again, you don't have to do what I'm doing, but in this case I've chosen to make 3 of them. All right, so I'm going to end this one, and we'll talk about assembly of this, and I will see you again here real shortly.